it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
On this Tuesday, November 19, how is everyone doing? Thanks so much for watching the Sick Podcast on YouTube and on Facebook. And thank you for being there. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you can please do so. Tell your friends about it as well. The more, the merrier. We've been trying to grow the channel for well over 3 years now, I think, on a full-time basis, pretty much. We're going to talk Montreal Canadiens hockey. We're also going to talk about Jim Montgomery being fired by the Boston Bruins. This went down. The Bruins made it official at around 4:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but Rich Keefe from the Jones and Keefe and Rich Keefe show middays between 10 and 2 on WEEI, they had it earlier today. As a matter of fact, they had it at around 2:08 p.m. So 2 hours and 11 minutes later, the Boston Bruins made it official, the news that Rich Keefe had earlier today on WEEI and Boston. So congratulations to him on a very good scoop. And very unfortunately, some bad news for Jim Montgomery. I have to tell you, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And I'll tell you all the reasons why I'm not surprised, because I'm sure my guest and I will touch on it a little bit later on. But we're going to start with the Montreal Canadiens. Without further ado, let's bring him in from the Raw Knuckles Sick Podcast, my former colleague when we did English sports radio for many, many years together. Chris Nilan, how are you?
I'm good, Tony. What's happening, my man?
Chris, I'm happy to be doing this with you for several reasons, because number one, there's a Boston connection. Number two, I know you know Jim Montgomery very well. Never fun when a coach loses his job. We will talk about him later on. Number three, one of the things you talked about, and you've been talking about for a while now, this has been going back for a while. You've been saying that the Montreal Canadiens need to find their identity. You didn't think the identity that they were trying to build of that running gun hockey with the personnel that they had was going to give them sustained success. And you talked about trapping. You talked about sticks on the ice in the neutral zone, picking up passes, intercepting pucks, causing turnovers. You talked about a real good defensive system, which will lead to a counterattack hockey, which will lead to odd man opportunities. And you know what, Chris? We've been seeing that every now and then here over the last 2 or 3 weeks, ever since they lost that game to Seattle by a score of 8-2 in Montreal, when you and I and Max Lapierre were broadcasting from Sir Winston Pub. You talked about implementing a more defensive style, and the Canadiens tried it in Pittsburgh. They lost 3-1. They tried it at home versus Calgary. They lost 3-2 in overtime. They tried it in Toronto. They lost by a score of 4-1. They tried it in Minnesota. They lost by a score of 3-0, but we were seeing some improvements. And last night, they tried it again, and I think it was their best win of the season, Knuckles.
Yeah, no, I agree, Tony. No question about it. The best game I've seen him play. I was at the game last night. I was sitting in the second row behind the goaltender that the Habs shot twice on and the end. And I got to tell you, before I went into this game, I'm thinking I had dinner with some friends. Jamie and I went to the game with a couple of friends. And I'm saying, oh, man, they're going to get blown out tonight. It just looks like a blowout game. You figure, all right, they lose in OT in Toronto. They're going to be pissed off. They want to come in here. But they must have went out, too, Saturday night in Toronto after the game. And again, I'm not take nothing away from the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
They played an awesome game, man. They were on top of the puck. They were skating. They were relentless. Defending is hard work. It's hard work to defend. When you do not have the puck, you can't spread your legs. You got to keep your feet moving. You got to be involved. You have to be able to read and react. And, boy, last night, that one shift McDavid had around the net, he did Caulfield, and, everybody oohed and awed, and it was great. But you know what they did last night? They kept them out of the middle of the ice. Listen, there was a couple of really good scoring chances, and you say it all the time. You got to get that timely save, and we know that in the game of hockey. That one save he made on
Zach Hyman?
Yeah, Hyman with the pad save. Oh, what a great save that was. He didn't panic. He stayed big. He got it with the pad. Good on him. He made some key saves at key moments. Instead of them being behind, now they're ahead. They score that goal. They get the lead. They stop playing. They're in their face. They're checking. And like I said, they kept them out of the middle. They created some turnovers in the neutral zone that got them some opportunities. And again, they're not trapping team per se. They've been a whole lot better in the neutral zone, a whole lot better,
big time.
It's good signs. I'm happy because I'm happy to see it for them because honestly, we talk about it all the time. It sucks talking about team when they're losing and they're not playing well, but you know what? It looks like they're starting to understand some of the things he wants. Has the coach changed some things? Probably has. And listen, it's been positive of late.
Yeah, you know what, Nux? And they did go out in Montreal, by the way. On Sunday night, they're at La Palma in Griffintown because my son Anthony comes up to me. He says, just my luck. I said, why? He said, well, I've always told you I want to meet Connor McDavid, right? And I said, yeah. He says, well, Anthony went to La Palma on Saturday night, and he says, on the night that I don't go, Connor McDavid's there because they put the picture up on their Instagram account. Anyway, you know what? We're not going to have that kind of show. They're allowed to go out. By all means, we don't know what time they came back at. Probably got back at a respectable time. I don't think it changes anything. But I'll say this. What you were talking about is the Canadiens gave the Oilers the perimeter last night. Only on a few occasions did the Oilers have bang plays like you talked about.
They penetrated a few times. It's impossible to keep them out all night, but overall, come on, they shut them down.
Look, Nux, when the Canadiens gave up 6 to Boston and they gave up 6 to Pittsburgh and they gave up 7 to the Rangers and they gave up 6 to Washington and they gave up 8 to Seattle, I was the first one to tell you that they looked like a bunch of chickens with no head. When they didn't have the puck, they looked like they had no idea where to be, where to go, who to pick up. And right now, tonight, I'm going to tell you that I think Marty St. Louis coached his best game of the season last night for several reasons. Number one, as you would expect, I mean, they had the last line change. You had the Suzuki line out against the McDavid line all night. He had the Jake Evans line out there against the Draisaitl line all night. He had his first pairing of defense of Matheson and Goalie. Matheson had an amazing game last night. 24 minutes, 1 assist, +3 up against the McDavid line. He had his second pairing up against the second line. But what I really loved in terms of defending Nux, they didn't give up those odd man rushes last night. Last night, they defended with 5 men.
Yep.
And that's what I really loved. Yeah, they really
played
did.
well. And listen, they always try and do that. They drop the forwards way down, and the puck's in the corner. They get 5 guys against 3, basically, and they give the pass to the point, but if the puck goes back up top, those 2 wingers got to get out there and get in the shooting lane so they keep the puck from getting to the net. So they crowd that area. It's tough, NHL. When you got 5 guys down inside that quadrant, if you will, the face-off circle in the corner and the net to the sideboards, it's difficult to penetrate. And being able to read and react, like I said, when you got that center iceman, the 2D, if they are, keeping their feet moving, they got active sticks. They're looking here, not at the head, looking here and playing the body when it's time and getting in their way, impeding them from having that easy route to the net. They're going to have success. And there's a lot of positive signs for this team defensively. for a team that, honestly, when I watched them here at the beginning of the year, I'm there, what the hell is going on? They don't have a clue in their own end. They can't be this bad. They played hockey their whole lives.
Yeah.
They come here. So, again, did he change some things? Yeah, I'm sure he has. But I think some of the players here, again, are starting to get it. 1. 2, listen, when you get sick and tired of losing, even if you don't have the talent other teams have, you can beat them. But everybody has to be on board. Everybody got to be moving their feet. Everybody has to buy in. You got to pay the price for one another. And last night was just a hell of a game by this team. I sat there watching. I'm going, man, this is awesome, because it's really the first time I've been to the Bell Center in a while where I walked out of there and I was happy with the way they played.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. They are a top fleet employer as far as transport is concerned in the country, by the way, by Forbes. Looking for ultimate entertainment experience? Playground has it all. Gaming, poker, fine dining, live music, DJs, all with unmatched customer service. Why go anywhere else? Just minutes from downtown Montreal, across the Mercier Bridge. Playground, your top destination for fun. And also brought to you in part by Bittt to Tibi, who launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the cool fall days. Only 90 calories, only 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. You talked about Montembeault. What a difference a week makes, Nux. He's picked up 3 wins in his last 4 games. And up until about a week and a half ago, I said Canada's looking for their 3 goalies for the Four Nations Cup. Chances are their third goalie is going to be a veteran. Who knows? Maybe they'll give it to Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't think Montembeault is going to be in the mix. His numbers were not very good. There were several goaltenders who had better numbers than him. Fast forward about a week and a half, and Samuel Montembeault's numbers have been fantastic. And yesterday, he pitched another shutout after having shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 1 of the season. And don't look now, but Samuel Montembeault has a very respectable, for a team that's not a very good team in the National Hockey League, a very respectable record of 6-8-1, a very respectable goals against average of .285, and a very respectable save percentage of .906.
Well, 2 shutouts will bring that down, but those listen, those games he let in a lot of goals. There was some, your favorite word, there was some bananas by him.
Yes.
But certainly when you're a team that gives up high-grade, high-quality chances, and they have, I don't care who you have in there. I mean, Carey Price is in there. He's going to struggle. He's going to have, he'll make some great saves. He'll be there for you. But after a while, it wears you down mentally, physically, and emotionally when you're getting these high-grade chances all the time. And it's tough on the goaltender. But good on him. And again, like I said, last night he made those timely saves and big saves that helped this team, keep that goose egg. And they got him that second goal, and that was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
That took some heat off from there, getting that second one, and then certainly scoring the empty netter. See you later.
Nux, I would say that most hockey people don't have Samuel Montembeault as a top 15 goalie in the National Hockey League. If there's 32 teams and you don't have him as a top 15 or 16, the top half of the National Hockey League, well, then you're supposed to insulate your goaltender. You're supposed to insulate even the best goalie in the world. But if you have a guy who's not considered a top 15, a top 16, it's extra important to protect him, insulate him, put in a system in play so that he doesn't go up against high scoring chances. And they didn't have that. Yes, he was giving up some bad goals. I never thought he was giving up the bad goals as a first goal in a game or a second goal in a game, but I'm happy for him. And he did it in front of Kyle Dubas, who is there scouting for Team Canada at the Four Nations Cup. And as Pierre Maguire mentioned, though, Kyle Dubas is probably doing a little bit of work for his Pittsburgh Penguins as well, because they're ready to shake and bake, you'd have to think. Okay. I think, and I mentioned this to Pierre Maguire last night, that last night's win, I think if there's going to be a turning point in the season, Nux, it might be a date that we might look back on Monday, November 18 versus the Edmonton Oilers, because I talked about those 4 games where they played defensive hockey. They lost all 4. They only scored 4 goals. Last night, they played defensive hockey. They won 3-0, and everyone contributed, and I thought everyone played well for the Canadiens. If you play defensive hockey, keep on losing your games. Knox, you that's been in that locker room on many occasions, would you say that you're looking at each other and saying, okay, you know what? We're playing a system that's probably not as fun, and we're losing. The heck with this, I want to go back to. But when you actually win, now it's easier to buy what the coach is selling.
Yeah, it certainly helps. But, defense wins. I don't care. I know you need offense. But you look at playoff time, what happens? Everything tightens up. Every shift, every time you touch the puck, someone's in your face. And, you just said, it's probably not as fun playing defensive hockey. But I think I mentioned the other night about that. When there's times when the other team has that full control. I see them now. They got a full control behind the net. The center iceman swings, and one of the Habs swing with him, and then the other guy swings the other way, and another guy swings with him. Honestly, you don't even have to do that. You can let one guy swing, no problem. If you have one guy in the middle of the ice there, let them swing all they want. And you have two guys behind them, they're never going to get the puck if you're in good position, if you're taking the middle of the ice away. And like I mentioned last time we were on together, that it's okay at times to do that, but you got to be able to recognize when it's time to go and recognize when it's time to sit back. And I don't mean sit back, but position yourself well in that neutral zone so you're able to block the middle, make them go a certain way, and force them into the crowded area, and they make passes into that area that get picked off, that maybe bounce by, and they go to the defenseman, and you turn that puck over and go the other way. So, they've been good at this. Certainly the last few games I've been watching, and they've scored goals on forced turnovers in the neutral zone. And again, it's all that recognition. When is the time to do it? When is the time not to? Again, defense wins. If this team, they're 80% in the power play, around the 81, something like that, and they're good on the PK, then those areas of the game, when they're playing this a little more defensive minded, special teams are that much more important, especially the power play.
Yeah, well, they've been, for the most part this season, about 23% on the power play, about 80% on the penalty kill. A total of about 103. No, don't worry. It's about a total of about 103.
Looking at it backwards.
Which, that's fine. Kill. Which Kent Hughes was saying at the beginning of the season, we want to have a number superior to 100. And I think they've had that for most of the season. Thank God, which is a good thing. I think they need to get their shots up because that's in the bottom of the league. I think they need to get their shots against down because that's very, very high up as well. But I want to talk to you about Slafkovsky because on Saturday night,
100.2 right now, right?
Okay.
Yeah, something like that, 100 combined, right?
Yeah. So Slafkovsky on Saturday night was benched for about 5 minutes, then had a shift with the fourth line, then benched for another 5 minutes, and then in the third period, he's out there again with the first line. I think he had a really good attitude at the end of the game. He looked at it in a good way and said he understood why he was benched and he wasn't happy with his performances. Last night, he's not on the score sheet, but I thought he was implicated. I thought he got involved, Slafkovsky, last night.
Yeah, he was. He was involved. You know what? I listen, he's a young kid, right? Still. And, he's been here 3 years now. And we saw what he did at the end of the season. I'm sure he's happy with that, the progress. Oh, everybody's talking about me. He signs a contract. Now he comes out this year. He's got 1 goal. So he's probably putting some heat on himself. Like, I got to be better. But the problem, and I've been watching him, he's showing his frustration a lot. Coming to the bench, a couple nights ago there when he broke a stick in the bench, getting pissed off. I see him reacting in that negative way, that wasted energy of being pissed off. And I get it, believe me. But as a young kid, you got to get, as a coach, you got to get his attention, which I think he did. And he's going to have to stay on him with that. You can't let him slip. Yeah, okay. You're not going to go out there every shift and light it up and be the best player, in the league every night. But you got to find that happy medium. And like I've said with this kid, he's got to move his feet. He's a big boy. You got to get involved in the game early. What's the best way to get involved early is go in and throw a hit, and then move those feet, hang on to the puck in the corners, take it to the net. I saw Yoel Amia come off the wall last night. I think it was the first period.
Yeah.
It was incredible play that he made. I was sitting there. He picked it off the wall. He had two guys on him. He pulled it out of there and came, and they ended up getting a good scoring chance. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, he has, God, that if I ever had that kid's hands, I would have been like a.
He's frustrating. He's frustrating.
He is frustrating. I know
because he's a good hockey player.
Yeah, he is a good hockey player. He's got to be going. I think he's been better overall this year playing. I think he's gotten the message, and I know people probably say, he's a bum, get rid of him, blah blah blah. Listen, he's a big body, and he does some things out there that help this team, in the offensive zone, and those are important. I'm telling you, minutes like that, when you have a guy like that come playoff time, are so important. And I know they're not there yet, and it's going to be a while, and he's not going to probably be here when they make the playoffs. But those are the type of players when, again, you have a guy that plays like that but is consistent in playing like that, night in and night out. Those are the type of guys you need.
Well, you said earlier on that you were sitting a couple of rows behind behind Calvin Pickard when the Canadiens were attacking twice. So in the third period, I'm sure you saw the Canadiens had an excellent third period last night. I thought a really good third period. And there was a shift, I think, in the third period. Everything started with the fourth line. Condotta, Heineman, and Armia. Condotta works his ass off, by the way. Like, I know he doesn't have the most talent on the team, but he works. And Heineman had 5 hits in last night's game. He had 5 hits.
Yeah, I saw them. I saw them. Right at the start of the game, their first shift, Condotta hit was it Brown? Somebody behind the net there, right in front of me, and he hit him hard. And he kind of set the tone. Like,
you like him, Nux?
Condotta, yeah. Listen, he goes out there and he plays hard every shift. That's all you can ask. Again, Heineman, I love that kid. I think he's going to be a really good player here for this team. He got a great shot. He finishes his body checks. He has hockey sense. He's going to be a guy that's going to help this team down the road.
Yeah, okay. We talked about Slavkovsky earlier on. Well, he talked to the media after the game about the commitment to play defense.
We're quicker. We're more alert, and it's been working somehow.
Communication, I guess, too.
Yeah, communication. We are like more ready to defend. I feel like we were cheating a little bit at the start of the season, and now everyone is committed to play D.
Nux, explain to me we're quicker, because it's not like they added any foot speed to their lineup, so we're quicker.
Quicker anticipation, moving your feet when you don't have the puck. You see it a lot when the other team has the puck sometimes, and they're moving their feet in the offensive zone or wherever. Sometimes guys spread their legs and they're watching. They get staring at the puck. Instead of moving your feet, being in good position and ready to jump, that quickness and closing on guys and snuffing plays out before they can happen. When you're on the wall, when you're in the corner, stuff like that. And I think that's what he's talking about for sure. And again, they have some guys with speed. They got some guys that are quick in certain situations. They have some guys that aren't the fastest out there, but you got to be on your toes, anticipation, being, and I love this word, but being assertive. Everybody asserting yourselves, getting yourself into that game. And again, I'm a Lemire disciple. Move your feet. You got to move your feet, and you're not skating. You're not doing jack out there.
All right, here's Marty St. Louis on the team's risk management. Let's hear from him.
I like that offensive style of game, wide open.
Well,
I like offense, and I know we can play offense, but not at the price of helping the other team to get going the other way. I know I was an offensive player, but in this league, but I understood the defensive side of the game was as important, especially if you want to be a consistent winning team in this league. When teams play loose on us, we can expose them because I feel we have a good offensive game. And some games they're not going to give you that. So you got to grind a little bit. You got to put pucks in good spots, and you got to trust the forecheck, and you got to try to start your own zone. And we're doing a really good job at managing our risk. And to me, that's a big part of the actions that don't help the other team. Especially like a team like tonight, they're just waiting for you to try a maybe. This might work, and they just live off maybes. So I felt tonight we had a lot of 100% plays. Like we really managed our risk really well.
All right, there you have it. When Marty St. Louis talks about managing the risk, earlier in the season there were times where they didn't manage the risk well, and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1, it's a 3-on-2. They give up odd man rushes. He didn't like it. And he's right, because I'm trying to think of every time Edmonton was dangerous last night. I don't think of any odd man rushes. The Canadiens didn't make high-risk plays last night. They played simple and solid.
Yeah, it's again, reading and reacting. It's like, okay, I can pinch here. I have someone covering for me. Sometimes if that forward is not out as high as he should be, and that D-man is pinching, you're in trouble. But the D-man has to recognize that, and so does the forward. The forward has to know to get his ass out there and make sure, especially he sees that puck come around the wall. All right, it gets transferred, it's coming around the wall. I got to take either a direct path to it and beat him there, or I got to realize this is the D-man's puck, and I'm going to just slide up top and fill in for him and let him pinch down, keep that puck in. And if it gets kept in and those two forwards get control of it, now you're back down as a forward and you try and get the cycle going. But those type of plays, a lot of them in the offensive zone, is not getting caught on the pinches. That's that part of the risk. Again, in your own end, taking that risk, making that blind pass, or maybe them short little passes because you're under pressure and you throw the puck. You're not managing it well. So there's certainly some instances where that happened a lot early in the season. Lately, I think they have limited that somewhat, and you see it. It translates on the scoreboard. There's no question about it. And boy, I love seeing a game like last night, the way they played it. Really, again, I'm happy for
playoff
them
habits. Playoff habits.
Yeah, it just hockey habits. This is the way you have. Yeah, and again, you're gonna have your off games, but when your off games are all the time, so maybe this is that point where they're starting to get it. We've seen it. Like I said, even though they didn't win those games, we're talking about a couple of weeks ago and into the past week. There were positive signs. There weren't as many goals against. And this team looked like they were working smarter than they had in the past.
The Canadiens have won 3 of their last 4. Are they ready to go on an extended run? Betway is the leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Go on Betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly if you're going to play. All right, okay. Marty St. Louis, this is what he wants his team to be going forward. Listen to this.
Business, very workman-like. We just show up, we work, we do our thing. I think it starts with the attitude of the group and understanding what it's going to help you be successful collectively. And we played really well in some game and lost, and we stayed even keel, and tonight, we played a really good game. So to me, it's just stay in the course and be business-like, and not get too high, not get too low. Just focus on, can we be the best version of ourselves each and every day?
All right, there you have it. Marty St. Louis looking for that consistency that they haven't had up until the last 3 of the last 4 games here, saying we want us to be business-like. It looks like he's trying to set a standard, Nux, a standard of discipline, really. You talked about hockey habits. You need a discipline to maintain those hockey habits. Right?
Yeah, you do. You again, it's when you have the puck, you're on offense. When you don't have it, you're playing defense. And, I heard him say, yeah, I was an offensive player, and he was a great offensive player. But those players, okay, how many of those are on a team? You get a lot of guys that are average hockey players. When I say average when you compare them to everybody else on the ice. And those guys, if they're not working, if they're not doing the little things, if they're not being assertive, if they're not using their head and making, and again, I'm not saying be a robot and just do, jump up, dump it out. Yeah, make a play. I know Marty wants guys to do good things with the puck. I remember Lemire telling me all the time. Yeah. When you get the puck, you only have it on your stick so long in a game. I want you to do something good with it. Not just, there's a time, okay, I'm coming down the ice, I'm one-on-one, the back check is behind me. What am I going to do? Am I going to try and beat the defenseman? Am I going to push it by, make him turn, and then be right up his ass and put him through the glass?
Yeah.
Those little things. The better players, they're thinking offense all the time. Those guys that want to score goals, they're thinking, And yes, a lot of them can play both ends of the rink, but some are a little bit lazy that way. I'll wait, I'll get out here, I'll get a loose puck, and away we go. No, everybody's got to buy in, and especially in this case, a very young team, and you got to develop those good habits.
The Canadiens will practice this week. Their next game is going to be when they host the Vegas Golden Knights, of course, on Saturday. Tonight's an abbreviated version of the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro, along with Chris Nilan, my guest. Because there's not really all that much going on, but there is something going on with the Boston Bruins, which I want to talk about. Let's bring up Jim Montgomery's record. Shane, if you can, this was his record with the Boston Bruins. 184 games as their coach, 120 wins, 95 of which were in regulation, 41 losses, and 23 OT losses. He had a winning percentage of 715. The winningest coach in the last 184 games in the National Hockey League. In the regular season, of course. Unfortunately for Jimmy, it didn't translate in the playoffs. But Nux, he was fired earlier today, and I have to ask you, did you see it coming?
Yeah, I kind of thought it was going to come. When I think of the Bruins, Cam Neely, this organization, that they try and set a standard. And if you're not living up to that standard, you're not going to be there much longer. And I think even looking at Monty's record, he's done well, but you look at the playoffs, right? They have that first great season they had where they supposedly had the better team than the 77 Montreal Canadiens. I don't think so. And I don't care what their numbers were. That was a special team. You'll never have a group of players like that together again with the salary cap and all that. But that being said, and I talked to Serge about that today too. But they don't want it to slip any further than it has, and they felt like it probably was. Now, I'm sure they have their little birds in the locker room, and maybe one of them was Sacco. He took over. And
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Hey, Joe.
They're trying to save their season.
Are they listening to the coach?
Yeah.
Listen, they made some changes there. They lost the big man, right? Pasternak ain't getting it done. Marchand, they're Pasternak, no, but Marchand is a year older now. He's getting up there. I don't care what you say.
I could be wrong, Chris, but I think that when a Patrice Bergeron, a David Krejci, and a Zdeno Chara retire, it's time to start a rebuild because the Boston Bruins were an extremely competitive team for 14, 15 years. You can't keep patching to make your team better. At one point, it catches up with you. Now, when was it? In a 15-day span, he started giving it to Brad Marchand on his way back, a game versus Utah when Utah scored a goal. Then he went over to Marchand. He raised his voice. He gave him a tug to get his attention. And then 15 days later, he benched David Pastrnak in the third period in a win versus Seattle. Nux, when a coach does that to his two high-profile players, it's because he usually thinks it's his last move to get their attention. And either it works or they turn on him. And guess what? And I don't know this for a fact because I'm on the outside. I think they turned on him, and ultimately the players did him in. That's what I think.
Yeah, and again, listen, you said it. They made some big changes, but have those players that came in there been carrying their weight too?
No, Lindholm has been terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
I dumped him in my pool. Watch him get going now.
Yeah, well, and the goaltender hasn't been all that good. Swayman, he missed camp, the contract situation, all that stuff. The other goalie splits, they had all that going on for them. And
he wanted his money. It's time for him to bring in now.
Yeah, hello.
He makes a save. Jimmy Montgomery doesn't get fired.
Yeah, and listen, I'm sure there was probably some bitching and moaning in that room, and they didn't like it. I'm sure Don Sweeney talked to players. I'm sure they talked to assistant coaches.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a little bug in that room.
Yeah.
And once that goes, forget about it. And a kid who played for me, actually, and I was wondering when it happened, Ryan Mougenel, he played for me down the East Coast Hockey League. I love Mouge. And he's coaching down in Providence. Now, do I think he's ready for the NHL?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but that's his goal one day. So Sacco's going to take over for now. I don't care who's in there. I'm not so sure they have the group that can get this done. And, yeah, they want to try and salvage this season, at least make the playoffs. But they make the playoffs and they go out like they have the past couple of years. Yeah, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, best of luck to Jim Montgomery. He's a good coach.
He's a great
I'm going
guy
to a
too.
fundraiser on Friday, November 29th that I just want to show you because I think you're really going to like what it's all about, okay? You see this this fundraiser here? Yeah, that's exactly right. On Friday, November 29th at 7:30 at Espace Vieux-Port, Montreal, Accent My Event, which you can find on Instagram, are hosting a charity fundraiser to raise money for RAD. Nux, what is RAD? RAD is for Rescue All Dogs.
Yeah.
Rescue All Dogs is an amazing charity that rescues and rehabilitates abused and neglected dogs. The event will be a wonderful opportunity to come together in support of a great cause. In addition to raising funds for RAD, they'll have some Prosecco upon arrival, a period of open bar, great music, amazing food, a live custom holiday ornament station, and much more. The event will be cocktail dînatoire style, so you can mingle, have a drink in a relaxed yet elevated setting. Tickets are $95. You can buy them online, and for more information, check out at Accent My Event on Instagram. And I want to congratulate one of my best friends in the entire world, Elena Kratsios, on an amazing initiative and what will be an amazing event. Once again, you can check it out on Instagram at Accent My Event. Nux, thank you for doing this tonight. It was awesome as usual.
No problem, Tony. You take care, buddy. We'll do this again for sure.
All the best to you. The Raw Knuckles Sick Podcast with Chris Nilan. You check it out. It goes twice a week, including Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In ending, a shout out to Paul Montreal, PEAU-Montreal.com. Dr. Manish Khanna has a game changer for hair loss. It's called TED. It's an ultrasound technology to boost blood flow to your scalp, getting those hair follicles back in action, all natural, no needles, no pain. 98% success rate for ideal candidates. 2 locations, downtown Montreal, West Island. For a free consultation, call them at 989-7328. Check out www.pomontreal.com. Special thanks to all of you for watching. Special thanks to all of you for listening. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. My next guest is going to be Craig Button of TSN. For Shane Gilmore, Master Control, it's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.